place is pretty fucking peaceful. As long as I don't fall down that cliff. And shit. I'm at Clark Reservation State Park and shit. And came here to kind of warm up for this week. You see, I'm gonna be doing a 5 to 7 day wilderness fast. It's gonna be part fat fast. Today I'm about 25 hours fasted while doing this short little hike. This is nearby to where I live. I've never been here. I'm gonna definitely start coming here. I'm liking it already. But the whole point of it is I feel like I've fucked my health up in recent times with the reintroduction of alcohol and shit. And I feel like I need to clear some shit up. I did gain about a half an inch around the belly between the cheat day and I think the alcohol I've consumed. So I've decided it's time for a long fast, coupled with moderate amounts of physical activity, although some of it might be strenuous. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going up to the Adirondacks. I got a little bit of a cold. I thought of canceling the trip because I got a little bit of a cold. And then I was like, you know, fuck it. Maybe the fast will clear that shit up. This is a little bit of an advanced trail I'm on here. It's called Cliff Trail. Yeah. So anyway, I need to do some fasting. And I recently watched a movie on Amazon Prime. The link is down below. Of course, that's a affiliate link, so it'll help the channel if you purchase or rent that video that way. But if you're an Amazon Prime member, you will get to watch it for free, like I did. And it was it didn't want to commit to saying that fasting was good or bad. It didn't have a lot of useful information until it got to Walter Longo's part, where he talked about the fasting mimicking diet. He's continuing to work in that realm and showing similar results to what I consider fat fasting. Basically only eating 700 to 800 calories of foods with a 4 to 1 or 3 to 1 fat macronutrient ratio, as in the ratio of grams of fat to carbs plus protein. So only a few foods really qualify for that. Heavy cream is obviously one of them. Butter, you know, that kind of stuff. Pecans fall into that realm. 100% cacao, chocolate does as well. But I don't know. It's, you know, it was talking about eating disorders and all kinds of shit, and it just made me want to fast just to prove it wrong. So I'm going to be stopping in Pulaski, New York to do just a little bit of a test. There's a camp there that I like to camp at every once in a while. and it's you know, it's near close enough to civilization where if I forgot something, I can go get it. And I wanted to test out my backpacking solution, because I am bringing a backpacking solution in case I'm stuck in the Adirondack somewhere. I can survive. Part of that solution is the sleeping gear, a one-person backpacking tent, and water, and a way to get water, a Sawyer Mini, and of course some emergency food supplies in case I'm out past the 5 to 7 days I want to be. I got about 4,000 calories of nuts, pecans, almonds, and some bacon jerky and shit. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to film throughout the trip, but you're watching this video the day before I leave out, or the day that I left out. There's not going to be any like cell signal there that I can upload with. I'll be filming. I'll probably edit some of it while I'm out, but chances are I'm not going to be able to upload it till I get back, and I won't be back till maybe Sunday, next Sunday. Today's Sunday. So as to whether or not I break the fast at the 5-day or 7-day mark, that depends on how I feel, because there's going to be some physical exertion, and if I feel that I've overdone it, or that I'm feeling weak or very hungry, then I'll break the fast at 5 days. But I'm shooting for 5 days as the minimum, 7 days as the maximum, with a little bit of fat fasting as a crutch here and there. So the main goals for the fast, kind of a cleanse. Want to clear out any damage I've done to my liver, fatty liver wise, from the alcohol and the cheat day. And basically just kind of some housekeeping. Also want to get my belly back below 36 inches, because I don't like being above 36 inches. And basically I just want to see what happens. You know, maybe I'll lower the set point from the physical activity coupled with the fast. Maybe being out in nature will help me out in some way. It's just a matter of that, figuring that out. So anyway, about the fasting documentary. It goes over several different aspects of fasting. First, it starts off with time-restricted feeding, where they advocate you can eat whatever the fuck you want within, a certain eating window, like 16 and 8 or 23-hour fasts. And that's okay in the beginning. You'll see progress. I did when I first started out. But you can't out-fast a bad diet. If your diet is shit, your health's going to be shittier than somebody whose diet isn't shit. Can you vastly improve your condition that way? Yes, but not by much. And in the end, you're going to plateau far shy of where you want to be, and you're not going to feel any better. You're going to be insanely hungry and miserable, and hangry. You're going to be food obsessed. You might be prone to binges. So, but they don't really say any of that in this documentary. This documentary just kind of was half-assing it. And they had some big names in the fasting community. Like even the next part where they went to intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting. They go over some of the clinical data that Jason Fung, this is Jason Fung's part of the video, and he talks his usual talk, and Megan Ramos, of course, being the first person to follow his plan and who works for him. And they really don't give any helpful information. So, as far as my review of this, it's interesting to kind of see the different aspects, but I really didn't get anything out of it until Dr. Longo's fasting mimicking portion, where they're researching on cancer, longevity. Of course, you vegans will be happy with that shit because he's plant-based, but overall, I can't really recommend this movie. I if you got some spare time and you want to kill an hour and a half of your life, it's shot really well. It's good quality, but I'm on the fence about it. It really doesn't promote or destroy. I mean, they give all kinds. They even talk about eating disorders and orthorexia and bulimia and anorexia, and they kind of focus a little heavily on that. So it's like they're trying to discourage you from fasting. At least that's what I was getting out of it. So the only part I really enjoyed was Walter Longo's part. But one of the things it does hit home on are all the things that can go wrong from fasting. It talks about True North and their experiences. It talks about refeed syndrome. It talks about being overly dehydrated, which can happen on a fast because it's easier to get dehydrated because you're not holding on to as much water and salt. So hydration's more important and will be... But I gotta say, the story that they told about the dehydration from somebody that went to one of these fasting retreats, that's enough to make me extra concerned. Like, I'm bringing plenty of water, bringing a way to get water if I'm out in the world and can't get, or out in the wild and can't find my way back to the car. I'm also bringing, of course, coffee, solution for both. Mainly just a percolator is what I opted to go with. I couldn't find any 12-volt solutions that would work in a Prius outlet without hooking it up to the battery. And so hydration's important to me on this trip, is, because I'm fasting, and that's another reason I brought the emergency reserves. I brought pink Himalayan salt. I'll be taking some of that each day, and drinking lots of water and coffee. And, coffee obviously being a little bit of a dehydrant, but I don't want to go through caffeine withdrawal, and I don't want to take caffeine pills. It's more fun to have coffee. Plus, it's kind of a meal replacement. So that's basically, my biggest concern on this trip is going to be staying hydrated. It is hot out. It's like 80, it was almost 92 degrees today. But it'll be a little cooler up in the mountains, in the Adirondack Mountains where I'm going. So, yeah, take a look at that fasting video and let me know what you think. I'm also going to be filming some minimalist shit during this trip and talking about the car camping aspects of it and my new setup. I do have a new hybrid setup. I'm not using the sleeping pad in the car this time. I'm bringing it with me for the backpacking. But basically, I'll go over that while I'm on the trip. I'll document the places I'm going, my camping setup, my backpacking setup. I'll demonstrate that shit, talk about minimalism. I've got a lot to say on minimalism. We've had an interesting discussion in the comments and some questions that have popped up, and I keep getting more minimalism questions and quitting your job questions, which I'm happy to talk about and discuss with you while living in a car or on the road, doing what I love to do. So now for the email of the day, and he wishes to remain anonymous. And I'm bringing it up today because it's a little bit pertinent to the discussion of fasting and its role in this. Here's what he says. Some thoughts I was hoping you could respond to in one of your future videos. I think there is confusion on what keto does and when it is helpful. I think I've gone over that a lot, but we'll continue. First, having done Keto IF for a year, lost 50 pounds, I'm obviously a huge proponent. However, I didn't think it was a magical diet, and we know people can lose weight and be fine with other diets, e.g. high-carb vegan if you believe in the myriad of N equals 1s. First of all, the myriad of N equals 1s, only about 2% of Americans are vegan right now. They don't have statistics on how many are keto. The dropout rate of the vegan diet is high. 5-to-1 ratio of former vegans to current vegans, according to a study. And, it's just not, there's ethical reasons that people do it, but their health reasons are just complete horseshit. We need meat, and we don't want grain. And the vegan diet doesn't take grain out of your diet. even the healthy whole grain shit. So I question the efficacy. And, you know, any diet that restricts your calories will make you lose weight, but it's whether or not you get to keep it. Either you're going to sustain that way, if you did it with a caloric deficit on a diet, so to speak, you have to maintain that. You can't go back to a normal caloric intake, which will lead to hunger, binges, misery. Just misery. So comparing the keto diet in that way, the advantage of the keto diet is, of course, it fixes your appetite. Your body takes care of energy balance. But you are right, it is not a weight loss diet. And I say that over and over again. It is a diet for health with weight loss as a side effect. And it's not necessarily going to get you to Abville. We need to clarify that calories in versus calorie out is absolutely true. With a caveat, not every calorie you consume do you have access to. You lose 10% in digestion. Your metabolism can ramp up. I recently read that it's even more than 500 calorie swing. During the Minnesota starvation experiment, which was basically a very low calorie diet, which led to psychosis and many other problems and food obsession and just drove people insane with hunger, not to mention all the metabolic drop. But they said their metabolism dropped up to 60%. So if you think you're burning 18 to 2,000 calories a day, your body can ramp down 60%. They were cold in July, it said. So you can't really say calories in, calories out. Yes, the law of thermodynamics is a thing. However, when applied to a biological system as complex as ours, it's not as cut and dry as every calorie you put in your face is going to go on your ass and vice versa. What those calories come from, how your body metabolizes them, where it stores them, and what it uses, what your gut microbiome uses. By the way, some of your calories feed your gut bacteria instead of you. And there's no real hardcore, accurate way to say calories in, calories out work. That's why calories in, calories out is horseshit. And there's even evidence to show that if you were to eat in excess of calories of fat, your metabolism would ramp up. You know, you'd gain 1 to 2, maybe 3 pounds. And this is at a 5,000 calorie a day. This was an N=1 that was well documented. And he gained 3 pounds. And that was it. And then lost it all back as soon as he stopped overeating. Naturally, it just fell right back off. So the body is a machine of energy balance. And as long as we don't fuck that up like we did with the standard American diet, you're golden. And I believe our ancestral diet was ketogenic in nature. Maybe a little less so. Maybe we had a little bit more carbs. When you're out in nature and shit, you know, when you're out and all of that, and you're looking for food, you're going to eat whatever the fuck you find, whether it's a plant, an animal, whatever. We have tried every fucking plant on the planet to try and survive. It's killed a lot of us. It's made a lot of us sick. It's caused a lot of problems. But we figured out which plants we could tolerate. It doesn't mean we have to survive off of them. We evolved on meat and fat. That's plain and simple. That's documented. You can look back at our human diet. Meat and fat have always been the central part of our diet, and it was only when we couldn't find meat and fat that we resorted to the gatherer aspect of our omnivorous behavior. But fat is the biggest thing that we need. It's the most calorically dense. Animals are the most nutritiously dense food that we can eat. Way more nutritionally dense and calorically dense than a lot of the plants you'll find in gathering, nuts aside, of course, but nuts aren't everywhere. You're not going to find edible nuts in the wild. And that, you got to think, we weren't made for agriculture. We weren't made for McDonald's. We weren't made for the vegan health food store. We were made to survive right there. So you got to ask yourself, even as a vegan, what are you going to go chomp on those leaves over there and hope you don't fucking die? And I'm sure after you're probably about 7 to 10 days of doing that, just eating berries or whatever the hell you could harvest or roots, and you see an animal scurry by, you're going to be really strongly trying to kill that fucking animal and eat it, you know? So I contend that we've always been high-fat, low-carb creatures. And it wasn't until agriculture came along that we changed that. Now, agriculture came around for a good reason. You know, obviously there's not enough animals to support the global population at this point. To think that we can feed as many people as we have on the planet with meat, it would be wrong. So yeah, there's an argument to be made that we need grain. But if we have the option of being keto and the funding and ability, then that is the best way to go. If you don't have the option, then your options are eat unhealthily, refined, you know, grains and sugar and all of that shit, eat the cheap processed foods, or starve. But I can tell you that's not the situation for me. That's not the situation for a lot of Americans. I can't speak to other countries. But you do the best you can with what you have. I believe strongly that keto is the best we have and shit. As Taub says, it is an explanation of how we got fat, not why we got fat. The answer as to why we get fat is dysregulated metabolism, which I agree with, that makes us want to overconsume and store. It's still the kind of calories we're eating, and we can only hold so much carbs in our glycogen stores. You know, the liver, probably about 100 grams is about the max. And it turns out if you look at the diet of hunter-gatherers, including some of the more modern hunter-gatherers who haven't been exposed to Western civilization, you'll find a 50 to 60% fat diet. But don't get me wrong, they have carbs too. They're not ketogenic. They're not in ketosis all the time. But I'm willing to bet that that diet, because of the infrequency of the carbs and the, you know, focus on meat and fat and fish, that they are in ketosis a lot and metabolically flexible to be able to easily switch back and forth. Because when you take these hunter-gatherer societies and you give them our fucked up Western diet, you are going to see just diabetes, heart disease, stroke, obesity. All of this bad shit is going to happen to them. You know, and the other thing is none of them are vegan. And so that I don't believe that the vegan argument at all. This is hormonally driven, chronically high insulin and insulin resistance. The value of Keto IF is that it addresses the hormone problem, correcting your insulin resistance. The weight loss that follows is a side effect. It is not a weight loss diet, and I agree with that. That's completely what I preach. That's where fasting comes into the mix. This explains why once you reach a healthy BMI, you stop losing weight. At least I have. Nearly 6 months ago, and I know you have too. Yeah, but I'm, you know, only 5 pounds shy of where I wanted to be. Some could argue that this is my healthy BMI, even though it's a little high for the standards, but who gives a shit about the standards, because look how well that's done us. But for me, I just want a certain level of, the big thing for me is the measurement. If the belly area is over 36, I'm not happy with that, and I'll do what it takes to make that stay below 36. And, you know, of course, still doing some of the unhealthy things that I do in moderation. Fact is, once we corrected our metabolism, our body got us to the weight of a normal, healthy human, and now dials our consumption and burning to maintain a set weight, which is exactly what's going on with me. Pushing ourselves to go further stresses the system. That's a true story too. Fasting is a stress, but it builds that muscle, you know. It's like exercising. It's a stress that results in an adaptation that causes you some kind of metabolic shift. Pushing ourselves to go further stresses the system, resulting in compensation either by higher hunger, slower metabolism, or both. Fat fasting seems to not do that as much. I'm getting lots of reports of success with not dropping the metabolism. We'll see how I do on this fast. My goal with this fast is to be in the upper 180s and stay there as my plateau point. And we'll see how that goes. So I think it takes a very, very long time of intermittent fasting, staying on a ketogenic diet, minimizing the amount of cheat days. It takes a very long time to lower that set point. The question is, what about us greedy bastards who want more? I still have liver fat, bitch tits, and even a normal BMI. And I want to be leaner and more muscular. I might be stating the obvious, but I think doing so will clarify some points. We know it's possible to get shredded and build muscle, not at the same time though. I think it's obvious that Keto IF is not going to do that for you. I don't think that's obvious. There's plenty of keto bodybuilders. In fact, I get pictures from some of them. And the fact is, if that's what you want, if your goal is aesthetics and you want to be ripped, there's no getting around it. You're going to have to pound some fuckmasters, all right? You're going to have to go to the gym, pick shit up, put shit down, several times a week for multiple years while consuming a calorie surplus to feed those workouts so you don't tank your metabolism and so you have enough calories to provide the energy needed for muscle growth. If you do not do those things, you will not look like that. And that's, like I've said repeatedly before, that's never been a goal for me. The extent of my physical activity is climbing around and shit like that with, you know, backpacks or heavy weights or camera gear or whatever. That's my physical workout. And it's irregular. It doesn't happen all the time. And as such, it doesn't affect me when I'm not doing it. I don't regain shit tons of weight. Any bodybuilder will tell you, you got to stay active in the gym to maintain that physique. It is not a physique that comes naturally. You have to work at it. And I'm not willing to spend 6 days a week for 1 to 2 hours each day in the fucking gym so that I'm ripped and shredded and have a huge fucking, you know, muscular body. I could give two shits. I'm 42. The fuck, who am I trying to impress, you know? But if that's your goal, then that's what you have to do. And the ketogenic diet will definitely help you get there, especially with the protein content. Some could even argue you could go the Shawn Baker route and consume the carnivorous diet in excess while bodybuilding. And if you look at him, you know he's doing it. He's also getting some insulin resistance out of the deal because red meat, that's all you eat, does spike insulin and will cause insulin resistance. All but temporarily. The great thing is you're not going to be pumping out enough blood sugar to become hardcore diabetic. As in, you won't suffer the consequences as easily of the insulin resistance as you would if you had that insulin resistance and you were a carb burner. So that's why while Shawn Baker I consider to be diabetic or pre-diabetic, I think he'll be in kind of a remission type phase, as in his blood sugar probably will be in the 120s to 130s because of the insulin resistance. He claims he's insulin sensitive. That's bullshit. But he won't succumb to any of the complications of diabetes because he's not going to raise his blood sugar to 2, 3, 4, 5, however fucking high a diabetic's blood sugar can go. And that's the important part. You often say in your videos that if you exercise to create a caloric deficit, your body will respond by tanking your metabolism. Yes, you have to feed your workouts, or that's exactly what will happen. You will be hungrier. You will regain weight the moment you stop with the exercise. I've seen it. I've seen it in friends that have done this diet. For example, right now, a friend of mine is hardcore on board with the ketogenic diet. A while back, he's a runner, he's a biker, he does all kinds of physical cardio activities. And a while back, he got injured and couldn't do those activities, and his weight started to creep up. Now, he's not injured. He's exercising daily. He's surpassing me in terms of the weight loss and fitness aspect of it, and he is looking more lean and more ripped. I contend, and he doesn't like it when I say this, that if for some reason he can't maintain that level of exercise, there will be some weight coming back, because I don't think he's feeding himself enough calories, even though he does eat a pretty hearty meal when he eats, to cover that workout, and he has a physical job on top of that. And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about that. Am I saying that you can't go to the gym and be in a deficit and do it that way? Absolutely you can, but you're going to have to do it that way the rest of your life. And if you're hungry and miserable or whatever, if there's negative consequences, you might want to reevaluate that methodology to getting to the ripped bodybuilder look that you're desiring, Based on anecdotes of bodybuilders, it seems possible to get to a fairly low body fat percentage without having to starve yourself. How do they do it? They eat at or just above their BMR, which is impossible to calculate, by the way. You don't know how many calories you're burning. You don't know what your metabolism's doing. You don't know any of that shit. Everything in those calculators is a fucking estimate at best. And you could be off by 300 to 500 calories, especially with the workout estimates. So you really don't know. The key is for your body to do the job by being ketogenic and let you know and give you the cues to eat more often, to not stop eating for a while longer, to feed that physical activity. And as I said, what they're doing the classic eat less, move more. They are definitely not immune to the pitfalls in heart disease and diabetes and all of these other issues that can crop up when you eat a poorer diet. And some bodybuilders maintain excellent physiques while eating complete shit, high carb diets that are not healthy. And you can't outrun or out exercise or outlift a bad diet. You just can't do it. Not possible and shit. That looks dangerous. Especially that part. I'm like right on a cliff while I'm talking to you. So I think there is a path for guys like you and I who have lost a lot of weight and achieved a normal BMI who want to go further. The key is exercise, and I think the evidence in the anecdotes of people that have gone from being fat to being lean and muscular, these people are uncommon because it's not easy, because they show that it is physiologically and shit possible. And from what I can see, they all incorporate exercise lifting into their lifestyle. Indeed, this seems to be more universal trait than them doing keto and IF. Indeed, most of them seem to eat carbs. And you're right. But look at what they have to do, not only to build that physique, but to maintain it. It isn't as cut and dry is just sitting there, going pounding the fuckmaster and eating keto every day. You're pounding the fuckmaster all the time. You are going in there and exercising for the rest of your life, as long as even Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's old as fuck now, is still lifting to maintain the muscle. And I guarantee you, when he stops, he gains weight. Not good weight. If that is your goal, then do that. Most of the people I talk to aren't really interested in that. They're happy just to not be on medication or go to the hospital, or it's not about looks or aesthetics. It's about health, longevity, feeling good, having energy, a consistent amount of energy. Everyone gets hung up on the diet weight loss part of it. And that's why it's popular right now. But it's popular for the wrong reasons. I did this, I lost the weight doing fasting alone. Most of it. Probably the last 15, 20 pounds was ketogenic. But when I started out, I ate the standard American diet and I fasted. And I was hungry, miserable. I would have binges. My weight would come back. I would feel like shit. And it was a miserable experience. I set out on the ketogenic diet because I wanted that to stop. I wanted to get rid of the hunger. I wanted to fix my body so I didn't have to do anything but make sure I didn't eat over a certain amount of grams of carbs every day. I don't count calories, and I haven't counted calories for over a year now. I look at grams of carbs. I guesstimate how many calories I think I'm going to be eating, but that's about the same amount of accuracy you get from MyFitnessPal because of the way our bodies work, our metabolisms, and how our body handles that. So eating in a deficit is not an option. Fixing your metabolism and listening to your body is. However, if you want to lose weight, that is where fasting comes in. And there's plenty of evidence to suggest that you can affect permanent weight loss through periodically fasting. Can you drop your metabolism? Yeah, if you fast too much and too often, absolutely. Don't be in a hurry. And I'm not. I've been hardly fasting. I switched to my default protocol, which is ADF, which is enough to maintain my weight for the most part, assuming I don't do stupid fucked up shit like eat pasta and drink alcohol. You know, it's about doing what is necessary to use the fat that you have stored and then keep it there. It's about lowering that set point. It's about your body feeling okay, and this is not a quick process. You have to repair any metabolic damage you've done. If your metabolism has dropped due to eating in a caloric deficit for a long period of time, then you're going to have to do something about that. You're going to have to repair that before you can make progress. Yes, you can lose weight short term by eat less, move more, and by going to the gym and lifting shit up and putting shit down. You can do that. Well, maybe not lose weight lifting shit up and putting shit down. You're probably going to gain muscle weight, but that's if you're eating in a caloric surplus. But if you want lasting results, if you want progress that you get to keep for the rest of your life without having to constantly be in a deficit or work out a certain way, the solution is ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting. Fasting requires no time investment, no extra effort. It just requires not doing something. Doesn't require going to the gym, doesn't require exercise, doesn't require any of that. If you want to look ripped, then you got to do the work. You got to go to the gym. If you want the endurance, you got to get out and run. I like to hike. I'm going to hike. I mean, look. That's my gym. And I don't have to do it every day. I do it when I want to fucking do it. I'm starting to think that for fat asses like us, weight loss is an eventual achievement of our most narcissistic goals follows three phases. 1, when you are fat and insulin resistance, goal number 1 is fix your metabolism. Got that done? We're good to go on metabolism for me anyway. I'm not going to read the whole thing because your email's a little long. Once you are at normal BMI, but if you still have noticeable subcutaneous and visceral fat, as I do, longer fasts, less calories will result in compensation because your metabolism is healthy and your body has a set point it wants to maintain. And that's not entirely true. My previous set point was in the upper 190s. Now I got it down to the 180s for a while, and then of course I reintroduced alcohol, and then it went back up to the 190s and has been hovering there. So that's why I'm doing this fast. And that's over a 3-year period, only lowering the set point by a matter of 5 pounds. It is not a quick process. It's not going to happen quickly for you. Probably best to still be keto to facilitate fat burning, though may not be necessary if your appetite is under control and you're maintaining good fasting numbers, etc. You know, the video's starting to run a little long, so I'm kind of paraphrasing here. Number 3, now lean. If you want to grow muscle, you need to, and this is if you want to take it to that level. Not everybody wants to do that. I particularly don't. That doesn't mean I think it's wrong to do that or want that. To each their own. If that is what you want, then you know what you got to do to get there. It's well documented how to build muscle. That's not a new thing. But that's a lot of work, and that's a lot of time in the gym. It's a lot of overeating. It's also a bulking. You might gain some body fat along with that if you don't do it properly, if you do too many carbs. And then you get into that bulk carb cycle that a lot of those bodybuilders that you talk about are stuck in. They bulk, then they cut. Some of them use intermittent fasting for the cut, and so and that's a constant game. It involves constant hunger. It involves a lot of misery. And I'm not signing up for that. It's not something I personally am interested in, even if it meant I kept an extra inch around the belly, or that, I didn't look fuckable, whatever it took. So he goes on in the email. I don't want to read it all because this video is running too long. He brings up Sean Baker and Jimmy Moore as the paradoxes of the ketogenic diet. And there are more paradoxes than that. There are people that are expecting miraculous weight loss and permanent results from a ketogenic diet that just aren't going to happen. It's just not part of the deal, You'll get most of the way there. You'll get all the way there health-wise. And it is okay. There are people that do maintain a higher body fat percentage but are metabolically healthy, as in all their blood works good, they're not on medications, they feel good, they're not miserably hungry all the time. It's a matter of... Sorry, I'm trying to not die while I vlog. Long ways down and shit. It's a matter of maintaining your health, not your looks. And as we get older and looks become a little less important and aesthetics are a little less important, the health for me is the goal for that reason. Am I still on the fucking trail here? And shit. Yeah, still here. It's about the health for me. That's what's important. So, and this is an interesting conversation. I enjoyed your email because a lot of people, they get mixed up like that, and they think that I'm preaching some goal that's going to leave you ripped and with a six-pack. No, that's not what I'm trying to tell anybody. If you want to be ripped and have a six-pack, then you got to go to the gym. In addition to doing the caloric surplus, bulking. And if you bulk carb-based, you're going to put on body fat along with muscle. And then you're going to have to cut the body fat. If you bulk with keto, which is a little harder to do, by the way, because you get full a lot quicker, then you're less likely to put on as much body fat and more likely to ramp up your metabolism. So I still think ketosis would be the way to go as a bodybuilder. But some bodybuilders might take umbrage with that. But what the fuck do I know? Because I'm not an expert. I'm just an asshole. Please like and subscribe for more shit. Sorry. Gotta climb while vlogging. Please like and subscribe for more shit. And I'll make all kinds of shit. And shit. If you like this video, if you found it useful, entertaining, and enlightening, please head to ScottTheTruckDriver.com and leave a tip in the virtual tip jar. And I'll make more of this shit. That helps me do shit like go on these road trips to document minimalism and travel and shit and still work. Otherwise, I would just have to work a side gig to pay for all of these excursions. This excursion, by the way, cost me $0. Well, maybe 50 cents in gas. So please like and subscribe and ring the fucking bell. I will be posting the videos of this 5 to 7 day water/fat fast, mostly water fast and black coffee, and nature, and not gonna have cell signal and shit, so it's kind of a technology fast too. But I will be filming this week. Left you this nice extra long video to hold you over, but I will make sure to to keep you guys in the loop with how this fast turns out, with day-to-day progress, with how I feel, with whether or not I have to end the fast early, with whether or not I can stay hydrated, and we'll just have to see how it goes. So now we're just gonna do a little hiking and shit before we close the video out. This is the app I'm using. That's where I am, right there. I gotta follow that trail around and shit. Hello again.
Yep, hello again.
Did I mention I'm gonna enjoy the shit out of this trip? I'm already having fun. I haven't even left Syracuse yet. Somebody built a primitive camp and shit. Wonder if they spent the night, even though we're not supposed to. Supposedly it closes at sunset, which I'm getting close to now. Where the hell does this fucking trail go? Lost the trail. Where's the blue paint? There's the blue paint. So have a nice motherfucking week and shit. And I'll see y'all next week with all my adventures from the week and my results. Also, if I'm able to, and I get signal somewhere, I might do a live stream while on the road. So keep an eye out for that and shit. And we'll see how this fast goes. By the way, my starting weight was 196.3 this morning, and my starting inches was 36.25 inches, which I'm not happy with. And that's the whole object of this, is to fix that. And I do believe that that gain was a result of alcohol consumption and the cheat day that I had. So I'm correcting it. Though the weight came back down, I don't like the measurement going up and shit. Gotta watch what I'm doing. I'd hate to bounce down that motherfucker right there. I like this park though. It's quite nice. I don't know why I've never come here. I think it's right. Maybe I do need to exercise more. Would help if I could breathe out of my nose too. That was quite the climb. And it's a not even, I don't even think it qualifies as a moderate trail. But I was moving at a pretty good pace, mainly because I didn't bring any bug spray and the bugs were all over my ass. Alright, for real now. Have a nice motherfucking day. I gotta prep for my camping trip tomorrow. I'll be camping in Pulaski, New York. Then I'm gonna go to Sandy Beach State Park on Lake Ontario. Probably the next day, and then I'm gonna cross over into the Adirondack Mountains and explore a couple of waterfalls. But there's one destination that's on the top of my list, and you're just gonna have to stay tuned to see what that is.